Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report, and this one is special because it comes from one of my favorite gun companies in the world. Today we're going to be taking a look at the B&T APC308 Pro DMR, so the designated marksman rifle version of the APC308. And isn't that just one great looking firearm? I'm telling you, B&T makes some of the nicest stuff in the world. It's why, honestly, they are my favorite, and I can't wait to get this thing to the range and see how it shoots. But I do have a caveat for this review. Anytime I review a gun like this, especially a designated marksman's rifle, I do get a valid criticism, and that is, Jason, you don't shoot that out to 5, 6, 7, or 800 yards like this gun is designed to do. Yes, and I understand that. The only range I have available to me goes out to 100 yards. And I'm also an average gun guy. I'm not a sharpshooter. I'm not a competitive shooter. But I know that there are average gun people out there that like firearms like this and may want to buy it and collect it. So that's what this review is for. So if you're looking for this gun to be shot at extreme distances, this might not be the video for you. But if you're an average gun person and are interested in just seeing how this gun performs and my thoughts, this might be the video for you. So, depending on what you're looking for, you can either stay or click away. Now, before I get to telling you about the things I like and don't like about this gun, as always, I want to thank the people that make these videos possible because I couldn't do it without them. First and foremost is the owner of this amazing rifle. He's a local fan and subscriber. His name is D. You guys have heard me talk about him so many times. He has an amazing collection. So thank you so much, D, for letting me borrow this. As always, I want to thank my Patreon supporters because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here. I could not do this without their support. And if you guys want to join my Patreon, you can join for as little as $1 a month and get all these videos way earlier than everybody else. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor for all of my range reports, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And if you have never heard about Brownworks, well, let me tell you, Brownworks is one of the best grip companies in the world. Mark over there is an artist. He's a craftsman. He is making a wide variety of grips for a wide variety of firearms out of a wide variety of exotic woods and materials. I know if you're here watching this review on this B&T rifle, you have a fine taste in firearms, and most likely you have an heirloom pistol or maybe a barbecue gun, and you're thinking to yourself, it would be great to have a one-of-a-kind custom set of wood grips with a custom logo, custom etching, custom engraving, maybe something made out of a laminate wood. And Mark is the guy that you need to contact. I know that I'm rolling in some photos of his best work. Anything that you can imagine, he can create. He makes grips for guns like CZs, Berettas, Colt 1911s, just to name a few. And if you have a gun that you don't see on his website, I always say make sure to contact him because he's more busy making custom grips than he is always updating his website. So I'm going to put a link in the comment section below, including a discount code for 10% off your first order. And I'm asking you guys to go over there, see what he has to offer, because he supports me here at the Texas Gun Vault and he supports Second Amendment content creators. So he helps keep all of this stuff coming to you. So please go over there, and when you contact him, please tell him the Texas Gun Vault sent you. All right, so let's talk about what this gun is. It is, once again, the B&T APC308 Pro DMR. DMR standing for Designated Marksman's Rifle. So the barrel is 18.9 inches. It is fluted, and the twist rate is 1 in 12. The Pro in the name means that this is the latest generation of the APC series of firearms. So it has a non-reciprocating ambidextrous charging handle. The lower receiver has some modularity to it, so any AR-15 grip will fit on it. It does come with a Magpul grip. The trigger that is in it is from a company called Eftman. It is based here in the United States, and they probably have to use this trigger for 922R compliance. And one of the nicest things about this firearm, I think, is the stock. This is their MBT stock, so we have a lot of options on this. It kind of looks like those old FN stocks that they put on the scars. The stock is folding as well as being telescopic, and you do have a really nice cheek riser as well. So you have a lot of adjustments there and a very simplistic and easy to use stock. So that's the firearm that we're taking a look at today. So let's talk about the things that I like and don't like about this gun. And as always, let's talk about the things that I like first. And the first thing obviously is that it's a B&T. B&T makes some of the nicest firearms in the world. I have never seen a bad product in person. Now, I have heard of stories of people saying, oh, I bought a B&T and it had some scuff marks on it or had some machine marks, but I have personally never seen that. And I own quite a few B&Ts. I'm always amazed with their quality. I also like the fact this is a short stroke gas piston system. So I think you can see the piston in the handguard there. See if I can adjust it just a little bit. You can see the springs and the op rod. I find that when it comes to 308 rifles that the gas piston system is a little bit nicer than the direct impingement, but I know some people will prefer the other, like in an AR-10 style of firearm. I'm also a huge fan of the longer handguard. On some of the other APCs, the handguards are a little bit shorter, but being that this is a DMR, most likely you're going to be running a bipod on it or have accessories going as far out as possible. They have extended that handguard. I think it looks really nice. I do think it is a little bit on the boxy side, but you do get a lot of space with all those M-lock slots and some nice M1913 rail on the top. So you do get a lot of options when it comes to that. But now let's talk about a couple things about this firearm that I do not like. The first thing I'm going to complain about is something that I have mentioned in every review of a Pro Series from B&T, and that is they changed the bolt catch on the lower receivers. So these you have to push down to release, where the old ones you pushed in. And I personally prefer the ones you push in on the earlier generations because they're just like AR-15s. I like having that same manual of arms. So why they changed that, I don't know. Maybe it's more effective and maybe that's how Europeans like to shoot, but I kind of preferred those buttons over the levers. It's not really a deal breaker to me. It's just personal preference. Now, the other thing I don't like about this is the trigger. I told you I was going to come back to this. This trigger from Eftman is a single stage trigger, and you guys know I am not a fan of flat face triggers. So it looks kind of cool being skeletonized and all that, but I find that the trigger face has some sharp edges to it. It's flat. It's not very comfortable for me. And if I'm going to be shooting in a platform like a DMR, I kind of prefer a two-stage trigger. I like having that real light take-up, which brings me right to the wall, and a nice crisp release. So this is a single stage trigger. You can get used to it. It has a very clean and short break, but for me, I just prefer two-stage triggers. All right, so I've done enough talking, so let's get this thing to the range. I'm going to start off at 50 yards. I'm going to go for the top left target on this group of targets. Hopefully this nice Night Force scope is already zeroed. D said he had spent some time with it, so I just want to see, number one, how this gun is going to group at that distance, how the gun shoots, and if I encounter any issues like failures to feed, failures to fire, and so forth. And then we're going to take it out to further distances. So here we go, my first shots and my first impressions. And for my first experience with this rifle, I have to say I'm pretty darn impressed by it. Overall, I'm happy with that grouping. I do need to adjust the scope just a little bit, but two things that pleasantly surprised me were the recoil impulse and the flash mitigation of this rifle. All B&Ts have a proprietary hydraulic buffer system, and they do great, whether it's 9mm, 45, 5.56, or in this case 308. So the felt recoil in your shoulder is pretty low. And when it comes to the muzzle device, I like this flash hider. I think it does a great job at mitigating the flash and putting most of those gases down range, so the gun doesn't have as much of a loud report behind the gun when you're shooting it. So I do like that as compared to some other DMRs that I have shot. As for the trigger, I think it's really nice. It's just not comfortable to shoot. I definitely want a trigger face that is a little bit curved, and I still would prefer a two-stage trigger. But when it comes to how the trigger performs, I am happy with it. It's just not, for me, comfortable to shoot. It has a sharp edge on the side, and I do find that the flat face triggers feel a little bit weird to me because the bottom part of my finger moves further than the top part of my finger. Just give me a rounded option, but that's just a personal preference. All right, so I'm gonna do a little bit of adjustment with this scope. I'm gonna go for 50 yards one more time, this time on the top right target, and see if I can get this grouping any tighter. And after adjusting the scope a little bit, I think my grouping was a little bit better. So I think I'm ready to go out to further distances. And I do have to say and compliment B&T on this stock. I think this is one of the nicest stocks they have ever made. I love all of the different adjustments. It really does seem to fit my shoulder and my cheek really well. It's a very comfortable stock to shoot. So I might have to pick up one of these for some of my B&Ts. All right, so now I'm gonna try for 75 yards. I'm gonna go for the center target, which is just below the two that you recently saw. And so hopefully I can get the same accuracy at a little bit further distance. So let's see what happens. And at 75 yards, I'm still a little bit high and to the left, so I'm still going to do a few more adjustments on this awesome Night Force scope. And I know this is not a review of a Night Force scope, but let me tell you, I have been so impressed with these scopes. The glass is so clear. I love these things. I think I'm going to have to pick up one of these for my own. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit more adjusting here at 75 yards, and this time I'm going to go for the new target on the top left. So let's see if I can get this group any tighter. And that is exactly what I wanted to see. I am really happy with that grouping. I'm telling you, these Night Force scopes are amazing. I absolutely love these things. The glass is so clear. All right, so now I'm going to set out the target at 100 yards, go for the center target, put 20 rounds down range. I'm expecting great accuracy. I'm definitely going to take my time. And once again, I'm sorry, 100 yards is as best as I can do. I know some of you guys would not take anything less than 800 or 900 yards, but I'm just an average gun guy shooting at an indoor range, so it's the best that I can do. But here we go, 100 yards, 20 rounds on this center target, and let's see how I do. And all I can say is for an average gun guy, I'm pretty happy with those results. This gun is exceptionally accurate. It's a lot of fun to shoot, and I'm very impressed with the light recoil. Something I did not mention elsewhere in this review is maybe because it has the fluted barrel or the materials that the handguard and the upper are made of, which is aluminum, the lower is polymer, the stock is polymer. This gun overall is pretty light compared to many of the DMR competitors that this thing would be up against. On the same range trip where I reviewed this, I also took a look at the L&T sharpshooter rifle. That gun is a lot heavier, and so when I shot this, I was pleasantly surprised and really happy with its light recoil. So overall, I think in the weight category, this thing definitely wins. I am very happy with this gun's accuracy, especially for me. I'm not a long distance shooter, so for me getting those groups at 100 yards, I'm very happy. This is just one awesome firearm. And another strength to it, I think, is that it's just not an AR-10. There are a lot of other DMRs out there that are based on the AR-10. This is its own thing with the gas piston system, the recoil buffer system. It's just a different beast. And I like that about this. It's different. If you're tired of AR-10s and want something different, this is definitely something to take a look at. And of course it has that B&T quality. The only thing about this gun that I would want to personally change out would be the trigger. I would go with something with a curved face and something that is two-stage. But I understand once again why they probably put this in stock, and yes, this is the way the DMR comes. Some people are gonna say, that's not the right trigger. I actually did research it. This is the trigger that comes in the DMR package. But I would definitely change that out to something that I would personally want. But that's a very qualitative thing and a personal preference. So overall, on my star system, what would I give the B&T APC308 Pro DMR? Well, I love everything about this gun except for that trigger, but I would like to see it in Coyote Tan or Flat Dark Earth. But I won't take that into consideration in the star rating. But with that trigger, I can only give this 4.75 stars out of 5. Almost a perfect review, but I just wish they had a different trigger option in it. Maybe I'm just really adverse to flat-face triggers, but I understand why people like them. I've seen videos on the virtues of the flat-face trigger. It's just not for me. So there you go. Thank you, D, for lending this to the channel, and thank you, B&T, for making such an awesome firearm. This was such a pleasure to shoot. I just love B&Ts, and I don't have a lot of B&T rifles or things chambered in 5.56 or 308. So this was a real treat for me. So what do you guys think? Are you interested and the larger rifles from B&T? I know a lot of you guys have their pistols and their pistol caliber carbines, but do their rifles interest you at all? I would love to know in the comments section below. So, as always, thanks for watching.